Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another edition of the War Zone. I got my co-host in the building, my man Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I got the money man in the building, Walter Culture. But tonight, y'all say you're balling, huh? I tell you what, you ain't balling until you're a boss. We got Bridgett Perkins in the building, female entrepreneur. And we're going to see if you're a boss or if you faking. Let's get to it, man. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another edition of the War Zone. And you know how I started off every night. I want to tell you happy Hanukkah, whatever that may mean. And I'm at my foci, so you might hear a little noise, but I'm in St. Louis. So, just bear with me for a second, and then we're going to get down to it, man. Fabulous guest in the building tonight, female entrepreneur. I've been knowing her for a while. Ain't no pandemic going to stop your hustle if you got a hustle in you, partner. I can promise you that. So I'm going to turn it over to Demetra, and we're going to crank this thing up.
So hello, everybody. I have everybody mute their mics. It's Gary. Here we go. So hello, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. As I said yesterday, we are, it's like, I think hell literally bust open here in Southern California. We're about 104, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees, depending on where you are. And as I said, also, we have like 37, 38 fires going at the same time. I also hear that in the southern region of the nation, you guys have like 2 hurricanes going at once. It said it's like a historical thing. So it's like, what's really going on, right? So anyway, before we get started, we want to talk a little politics, just really quick for some of you guys who haven't heard Kamala, her stance on reparations, which is actually going to lead us into our conversation about entrepreneurship and just really being able to feed yourself, right? So you guys check this out and give us your thoughts. Some of you guys, not all of you, because some of you guys' thoughts are a little off the hook. But here we go. Oh, wait, hold on.
Listen, again, do you support reparations for Black people? Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the Lift Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you use.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country, right?
So y'all heard it there. Kamala's not very open to reparations. In fact, now listen, I also want to say this because, oh my God, some of y'all be getting in y'all feelings, like in your feelings. All you guys do is talk about the Democrats. Listen, the GOP, they're having their convention next week, so just wait for it, okay? We can only do one at a time, but I'm sure we'll have a whole lot to say about that. But one thing I'd like to point out, and maybe I'm wrong, but the Democrats didn't say a word from Monday through Thursday. Nobody said a word about reparations, which basically tells us, hey, we're still on our own, you know, and which is why we're going to have this conversation tonight about being your own, I should say this, boss, being your own boss. This is actually Bridget's clothing line. So we're going to talk a lot about that, but, you know, about being your own boss, because until reparation happens, what are we going to do? Sit around and wait for somebody to feed us? So Gary, I'll give it back to you, but that's why Walter's here. He is our money guy. He's going to tie in, you know, different financial points of view. We're going to talk to Bridget about, you know, her inspiration, motivation for starting her clothing line. And then me and Donovan, we're just going to be like flies on the wall. And so, Gary.
I wanted to give a lady the benefit of the doubt. And I saw the clip. So you just not going to do something for just Black people. Donovan, unmute your microphone real quick. The first day Joe Biden gets in office, are they going to do something for just certain people and not Black people?
Yes, Joe Biden has been on the record and has said day one he will do DACA, day one DACA, Dreamers, and LGBTQ. But if you put all three of those groups together, that is not enough people to deliver the White House to Joe Biden and the Democrats. But he's going to do for people who can't deliver for him rather than the people that he needs. Thus, Kamala Harris is on the ticket. But he's going to do for everybody else.
So I'm confused. You won't commit to doing just something for Black people, but yet you will commit to doing something for illegal immigrants that only benefits them, for doing something for the LGBT community, which only benefits them, but you won't do nothing for Black people. You ain't gonna do just something for us. So all of y'all out there screaming for reparations, charge it to the game. It ain't gonna happen under that administration. So you might have to become a boss to survive this pandemic. You may have to. And it's a damn shame that we even considering these people, and they flat out telling us, no, we're not just gonna do something for just Black people, but yet you're gonna do something for everybody else. Dimitri?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. And so what I'd like to do is bounce it to Bridget and tell us what inspired you to become, hold on a second, your own boss. What inspired you to become your own boss? And tell us how it's been, you know, during the pandemic, because we, you know, hear a whole lot of, I guess, hardship with business owners and things like that. So tell us your story.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me to be on your platform this evening. Actually, I started out being a boss back in 2006 or 7-ish, and it was by happenstance. I am an accountant by profession. I've been in the accounting, tax, bookkeeping field for over 20 plus years. I am originally from Louisiana, and I moved to Houston with my 3 young children at the time, young children. And I started my career here and been here ever since, now with 8 grandchildren. But to make a long story short, I worked for Conoco, oil and gas company, before they merged with Phillips. And they had a reduction in force in accounting, so they laid us off. We either take our severance package or we moved to Bartlesville, Oklahoma. So, of course, I took the money and ran. So at the time I was married, and I wanted to go back to school and continue my bachelor's degree. But my husband said, well, no, we need 2 incomes. We had 4 children together. Well, not by him, but so his cousin asked me to babysit her baby once she delivered. And I said, sure, fine. You know, I'm at home now. I'll do that. Well, she told a friend, and her friend asked me to babysit her baby when she delivered. I said, okay. So I ended up with about 10 or 11 children at my home. as a daycare. And I ended up opening a daycare. I told my mom, she was still in Louisiana. I said, hey, I think I want to do a daycare. Open it. She said, well, go for it. And then once I opened my daycare, she actually opened a soul food restaurant back home in my hometown. So we kind of inspired each other. So, life happened. My husband and I divorced. We closed the daycare down and everything. We went our separate ways. So I got back out into the workforce, and it was still pretty good. I ended up going back to finish my bachelor's degree. So I did get a bachelor's of science in business with a concentration in accounting, another accounting degree. And I still did not think about going back into business. Well, now my children are grown. I started having grandchildren, and I needed some extra income. I started off with mobile notary, and starting with the mobile notary, it just opened up other doors. So what happened was I started to see the younger generation actually wanting to start their own businesses, which I thought was so awesome. I would see a lot of the younger adults on Instagram and social media. By then, I'm on social media quite a bit, and I noticed that the first thing that they would say was, "Oh, I'm starting me a business, and I just got my logo." And I'm thinking, like, did you register the business yet? So that's how I kind of got into it. Now, fast forward to this year, 2020, during the pandemic. Quite a few people have asked me, well, did it stop any of your business ventures? And I said no, because what happened was I am mobile, first of all, with my notary. I also do mobile tax preparation. So a lot of things I do it from my home or in my truck. So I had to rebrand myself. I didn't want the overhead of opening a building and everything. So that's what I did. I started doing mobile. So it really didn't affect me too much. They actually have online mobile services. I didn't sign up for that because the notary piece is just a small piece of my businesses. My blanket business is called Professional Business Solutions, and I do notary, tax preparation, document preparation. And my main thing is I help start up businesses. That's my passion. I love to see those young people and older people too. They actually started getting into, well, I need your help. I know I want to open a business, but I just don't know where to start. And so that's where my passion came in at. And believe it or not, I have 5 different businesses, and I can give you a background on why. And I actually have 4 different streams of income. And again, it wasn't planned. I kind of fell into it, and doors just started opening. But during the pandemic, I would tell people, a lot of people, woe is me. We don't know when we're going back to work. I don't know what to do. And I told them, I said, find something that's less cost efficient, and start with that. A hobby, things that you like to do, services. People now, especially now, are going to need services, and a lot of the services are online. What happened when the pandemic broke out? We had to stay home. Of course, restaurants closed. Well, they had to close their doors, so we were forced to use DoorDash, Grubhub, those different places. And once this is over, people are still going to use those type of services because it became convenient. So I told them, I said, think about what's going to happen at the end of the pandemic. When all of the smoke is clear, what are going to be the needs of Americans? So that was one aspect. Okay, stores started closing. We could not go into the stores. So people were forced to use online shopping sites. I said, okay, boutiques, clothing lines, and things like that. And believe it or not, the clothing line was not in my hat either. That kind of fell in my lap as well. So that's the type of things that I started coaching some of my clients toward. Just start with online things. Start with a small boutique. Start selling things. My daughter told me, my daughter's 24 years old. She's the baby out of 3, and she's the only girl. She said, Mom, why don't you sell something? I said, I'm not a salesperson because I hate to be turned down. I don't like people saying no. She said, well, everybody know you. You have a good following, and people know your credibility. So what I did is I started branding some wine, and it's called Boss Established 73. And of course, it's kind of self-explanatory. The 73 is the year that I was born. So that was the year that a boss was born. So I started branding the wine. And a good friend of mine, we started collaborating because she does custom designs, T-shirts, cups, mugs, all type of stuff like that. And she made a shirt for me. She said, "Hey, I want you to try this shirt," and we put the boss logo on it, and it just blew out everywhere. Everybody wanted the T-shirts, and so that's how that started. But just that one piece, just one thing. If you can if you have 2,000 people on your timeline on your social media, and you're selling one product at $10, and you market it out there to those 2,000 people, you multiply at least half, maybe a third of that. You say about 500 people actually buy your product for $10. That's the profit.
Absolutely. And so, and Walter, before I pass it over to you, I was actually, as you were speaking, I was thinking of Carter G. Woodson in his book called The Miseducation of the Negro, where he talked about how, and obviously this was written in the early 1900s, but he was talking about how we as Black people went off to school and we got these big giant degrees and all of that. But unfortunately, when we came back, we necessarily, not that we didn't need them, but we didn't use them because we didn't have the money and all that kind of stuff. But we forgot to revolutionize the stuff that our parents did. Like if your mom was a washerwoman or your dad, did a shoe shine or wash cars and stuff, instead of going off and becoming a psychiatrist and, all these elaborate things, why not come back and build upon what it is your people were doing, because we still needed those things. And so as I heard you speak, you talk about babysitting and your mom opened up a restaurant. So stuff that we still need as a people. And so, and one last point, when you're talking about the COVID shutting things down, I remember going to Walmart and noticing that the clothing area was almost bare sometimes because you couldn't go anywhere else to shop. So, Walter, what say you?
Let me unmute myself first. Well, I'm glad you guys are talking about starting your own business. People always ask me, what do you care about outside of my kids and my family? It's money. It's all I think about 100% of the time. And here's why, because no matter what you do, money is attached to it, right? So I don't care what it is. Like it's Friday in California. We got ash coming down. It looks like hell here. So I'm going to St. Martin this weekend for a week. Ain't no ash in St. Bart's. It's fun. I went to go book my tickets. They asked me for a credit card. So money is wrapped up into everything. And there's a good book I always tell people to read. It's called The Color of Money, right? We talked about it here. It actually goes over Black businesses. It talks about Tulsa, Black Wall Street. It talks about Durham, North Carolina. It talks about all the Black establishments, all these Black communities that had their own businesses, from banks, mortuaries, you name it. And I know there was a lot going on with people coming in, destroying the communities and all the things that went with that. But we're not dealing with that, at least not to that point. Not where they just come bomb from the sky and just come, destroy everything. So we have the ability to do that all over again. And you can start with just like, you mentioned Bridgett, right? And I can't see your name. My name is blocking your name, right? Maybe we could add them together and start something.
Okay.
I always tell people, you got an idea, let me know. I love investing, especially with my own people, right? And I love the clothing line idea because everyone wears clothes. Everyone wears clothes. And I don't know how it is that the clothes are off the shelf right now. So people they spend money on the thing that excites them and they care about how they look. Mm-hmm. You'll never go wrong with food and clothing, right? So let me get back to where I was. So the book, The Color of Money, I think that's something that we should make our kids read. You can go on Amazon, you can download it, you can get it, use a credit, or it's like $13-14. That book pissed me off to the point I was angry for the whole day that I started listening to it. And it goes through all the things that we as Black people have done. I just wish that we would teach our kids that, number one. Two, it's okay to have a job, right? And I know I've been offensive sometimes. I tell my friends, you know what, you're going to work all day for $100. Like, that's what your life is worth? And then that's kind of me, right? Because you have to start somewhere. But what I think you should do is have do your job, but have your side hustle you can start at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. You give an employer, right? If you work a regular job, what is it, 9 to 5? But then your job doesn't start at 9. It starts the night before. Because think about this. If you have to work tomorrow, what do you tell your friends that want to go to dinner? What do you tell your kids that want you to take them to the movie? Oh, I got to work tomorrow, right? So your job starts the day before. Sunday used to be one of the worst days for me because I would just get the sick feeling of having to go punch a clock, right? You know, I mean, the number one day for heart attacks and suicide is Monday morning. Before people go to work, they pull the plug, slice the throat, do what they got to do. Well, they don't got to do that, but some of them feel like they need to do that, right? So I think it's okay to have a job, but work your business after hours. I mean, because you get home at like 6 or 7, you eat dinner, and then you get started, right? And I know a lot of the richest people in the world, and if you think about it, their industry they got rich in, a lot of them used to work in that industry, right? If you look at Apple, Google, Microsoft, a lot of these guys worked for a company and then went and started their own company, right? So if you're in accounting, why not just start your own accounting firm, right? One of my buddies, she works at H&R Block. They pay her like $200,000 a year, but she works 16 hours a day, and that's just in the office, not to mention at work. And so I said, what do you get to keep when it's all said and done? She goes, well, I take home about 100. I said, and subtract your clothing, your meals at work, the stress, the drugs, the weed you smoke, dealing with your employees, all that stuff. And really, what do you get to keep? She's like, oh, 60. So wouldn't it make sense just to go out, start your own business that would pay you 61, and then you'd be on top of the game, right? And so there's no getting fired when you work for yourself. The beautiful thing about having your own business, and I know it's scary for some of you people. I mean, waking up and going, it's on me today. Like, that's a scary feeling, right? Some days I wake up sick to my stomach because I realize it's not just me, my kids, my family, a whole bunch of people that work with me and for me are depending on what I do. That's a lot of stress. But you know what it also comes with? Freedom and money. And the cool thing is once you start, it becomes an addiction. Like Bridgett, you mentioned you have 4 or 5 streams of income. That is, and even if you just add those up, sooner or later, that stuff, it starts to add. And before you know it, you're like, oh, where's this check from? Like, I'll get a check in the mail and go, I forgot about that side hustle. So
you're hitting the nail on the head because yes, one of my streams of income is a 9 to 5 job. Trust me, I still work after I get off at 5, from 5 until sometimes I'm up until 2:30 in the morning, but that's because I'm making sure that I take care of my clients. On the weekends, those are my days because I don't work on weekends. It's just Monday through Friday. And Saturday and Sunday is devoted to my clients and my business. And like you said, yes, sometimes it gets stressful because I want to make sure that I'm providing them with great customer service. So yes, the 9 to 5 is the job that actually pays the bills. And that's what
let me jump in here with y'all.
My professional business solution services off of my accounting. And how I got into that piece is because I use QuickBooks for my bookkeeping. And one day I was just browsing through QuickBooks, signing up for some stuff, and they have this ambassador program. So one of my streams of income is passive income because they pay me for everyone that signs up with QuickBooks under my link. So you have to, and what I tell people, think outside of the box. Like Demetra said, yes, everyone is not college material. And I had to learn that. My mother was very upset at me, rest her soul, because I did not go to college directly out of high school. And I was an A&B student, very smart. But I didn't go to college, and she was very upset. And what happened is I ended up with 3 children. I wasn't married, an unmarried mother of 3. And they laid us off at the school system. I worked for the school system. And I was like, what in the world am I going to do now? So I ended up going to college and getting an associate's degree in accounting and went from there. But I look at all of the years, all of the different industries that I worked for, everything that I did throughout these last 20 years, I'm actually doing for my own business. So everywhere that I went and everything that I did, I took those things as learning experiences. And none of my children went to college, and I was upset because my daughter didn't go. But she said, "Mom, I am." She said, "I'm just not ready. I don't want to go to college." So she actually ended up starting her business, and it's called the Kitchen Part Two, because that was what my mom's soul food restaurant was.
Gary, I think you need to. Okay, there you go. That's better. So
it's called the Kitchen Part Two. So I said, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, and I'm here to help. I'll help you.
And the cool thing with kids is at first they'll make you want to kill them, right? Because they always got something to say. I know if I have, anyways, we don't have that much time to talk about kids, and I got 6. But it's cool to watch them figure things out. Like my father was a mechanic. We would get up, we would wake up at 5 a.m. and we would work until midnight. And I did that all summer, so like hanging out with my friends and all that stuff I didn't do. But the crazy part is now I can do a lot of stuff that my friends can't do. So you can try, and those little things that you give your kids, sooner or later, the light bulb will turn on. Like I didn't go to college either. Well, I'm lying. I went to college for like 6, maybe a few months. And I followed my professor out to his car. And I was like, oh no, I ain't never riding in that. And then I looked at his clothes and I was like, I don't want to look like that. And he looked stressed out. I said, why would I spend 4 years to follow this dude? And so I dropped out. Now it was chaos for me, but eventually I figured it out. So I think we, as especially people of color, need to back away from the whole college thing as a prerequisite. Like in the news is the with the Massimo and the girl from Full House. They spent $500,000 to get their daughter into school. Couldn't you have started a business with give me $500,000, I'm gone. I don't need to work.
Gary, what was you gonna say? You were trying to jump in there, Gary.
Well, I think that I've been knowing Bridgett a while, and Bridgett she's in the Houston area, so she dealt with Harvey. She lost a lot. I think you got to have the spirit of a hustler. Now, I'm going to talk to the ones that say they're out there hustling. Well, you're an independent contractor when you're out there hustling. You're an entrepreneur, you're just doing it illegally. So you can take the same spirit and the work ethic that you put into the illegal activity, and you can put it into something legal. So I want to ask Bridgett and Walter, from an African-American perspective, how hard is it to just start you a small business?
Ladies first.
Okay. It's not hard at all. At this day and time, I'm going to tell you another backstory. I used to think that starting a business was for rich folks and others. And I used to think you had to go through all these hoops and hurdles to start a business until I started that daycare. And all I had to do was just go register a DBA for $16 in the state of Texas. Now, I just found out.
You started your business with $16.
$16 to register my business name in the state of Texas. I just found out in Louisiana, where I'm originally from, it's like over 100 and something bucks just for a DBA. But still, that amount of money to invest in yourself, your own company, is not a lot. Now, that's just for a DBA, and I'm going to be speaking about Texas because those are the laws that I'm more familiar with. I can help other states. I would just have to learn what their rules and regulations are, their licenses. But in the state of Texas, you can register a DBA, which is what my daughter had for the Kitchen Part 2. $16. Even though the county clerk office is closed, you can print the application from online, fill it out, have it notarized, mail it back in. She received her DBA within a week. So it does not take long. But if the offices were open, you get it right then. You go in with the application, they notarize it there, $17 because they have to charge $1 for notarization. That's how much it costs to start a business. If you
So now when you get the DBA, you can go open a business bank account.
yes. Okay, yes, that process is next. Now, if you start an LLC, which is what I normally try to push people to, because the LLC, and the way I explain it, I break it because everybody, of course, wants to know, well, what's the difference? Both of them, you register your name. If you go apply for a job, and let's say you went to, we'll say Houston Community College, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you went and that's what you wanted to do. But you go apply for a job, let's say the same ethnicity, you both have the same skills, the same skill background, but you went to Houston Community College and the person next to you went to U of H. Who do you think that employer is going to hire? So that's how I compare the LLC to just the DBA. They're both registered businesses, but you have a few more perks. You have a few more deductions and credits with LLCs than you would just a basic DBA. Once you file and register that business, then my normal process is I get the paperwork back. We're going to say LLCs. I get the paperwork back. I file for your EIN, your employee identification number. Even if you don't have employees, it's still called an EIN, and you register for that EIN. Within 2 weeks, I receive another letter from the state comptroller's office to set up a franchise tax account. And what that is just the state allowing you to do business in the state of Texas. So basically, it's almost a 2-week process for everything that I do for the client, and get all that paperwork back, and you're legal, you're legit. Now, once you get, let's say you're selling some things, well, once you get the state comptroller's letter back, then I file for your sales and tax use permit. So because you have to charge taxes, and you have to pay those taxes into the state. So that's it. It's a maybe 4 or 5, step process at the most. My complete services, I include also, which is one of the number one reasons why a lot of businesses fail, because of the lack of bookkeeping. I cannot stress that enough. Maybe it's the accounting in me, but the lack of bookkeeping. Be honest. We as a people have mishandled money, mismanaged money for ages, centuries. And especially when you start a business, a lot of people get that when they start making the money, they start buying cars, they start buying, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all that stuff. That's fine. But you have to also invest that money back into your business if you want it to, be sustainable. And that is my mission and my vision statement, is to create profitable, sustainable businesses. Not I go in business this year because of the pandemic, and then next year, it didn't work out next year. So that's where my professional services come in. I also coach you along the way. I have plenty of people that'll call me up or email or text me. I don't charge for conversation like that. I only charge, when I need to do something. But yeah, to make the long story short, it does not take much at all to start your own business. $16 for a DBA. Now the LLC is a little more. It's $300, $308.10 to be exact. For an LLC for the DBA.
Jeez. In California, it's $800 every year. And that's just to get started. So, people outside, I can't wait to leave this state, but the people outside of California, you have it made. I mean, anyways, I that's not my forte. I have my son, and I got people that do all that stuff for me. I don't even know my EIN number, but I know that I got one. My son can tell you what the number is, right? So here's what I would add to that. Number one, and I want to kind of back up. I think when it comes to starting your own business, I think what a lot of us get afraid of is the mistakes that we've made in the past. Number one. Two, and the cheerleaders around you, I'm being funny, that tell you can do it. I know every time I get a good idea, most of the people around me say it ain't gonna work. And I get it. Some of them, sometimes, most of the time, they're right. right? But I don't need to hear that, right? You just need to make sure I'm not breaking the law. I'm not breaking any rules. So I think if you just get you whatever it is, you just go for it. And the people around you, you just block out. See, I was going to make a shirt it's going to say, bleep them, it's my turn. Because what happens is people around you, they're afraid and they're nervous. And so a lot of us won't start things. And we as Black people, we are so critical of each other, right? So I think you just really need to figure out what it is you want to get done and think about that. So me, I have 6 kids and 4 grandkids that I'm aware of. I hope they ain't going to have no more anytime soon. And so I got 10 people in my life that I got to take care of. They don't see it that way, but trust me, I believe, you have to have their back. So I think about that stuff when I'm trying to business their idea. I don't really let the people around me, the naysayers, the people that aren't going to write my checks, get involved. Number 1, 2, I never saw myself as a minority. It did not occur to me. And it's funny because me and my sister were raised by a Muslim father, right? I mean, we went to the temple. We were surrounded with Blackness, but I never saw myself as a minority. And here's what I mean by that. I never said, you know what, because I'm Black, I can't do it. And maybe I'll give it to my parents because my parents were, creative. My father had his own business and still does. So I didn't add color to the picture. I just started moving. And when I go to start a business, they don't ask me what color I am, right? I go into my bank and they go, okay, Mr. Coulter, do you have a deposit? Yes, right? They don't ask me my color. And so I think we really have an advantage as African Americans because let's be honest, we create everything, right? I was in a music studio with a guy that wrote Drake in My Feelings a couple nights ago. It's a little white kid and he's surrounded by Black dudes. And I go, I wonder if he knows he's white. Right? So there's no color when you get started on your own thing, right? And then you need to be accountable. You need to have somebody that's accountable. Like accounting kills us as Black people. So I think you need to have someone that you report to, right? Anyone that knows me, anytime you get on the phone, I say, how much are you saving? Are you saving money? Matter of fact, I had to dig into a brother the other night. He goes, oh man, I said, dude, how much money are you saving every month? Don't tell me you're a Black dude. Don't tell me you're a father. You ain't shit until you start putting some money away because your kids can't do nothing about that. So we have to be responsible for our own self. And I think as Black men and Black women, you guys can put the screws to us. We work off of that type of stuff. Like, you ever been in a relationship, and especially with a woman, she will check you if she care about you, right? So I think we have to hold our men accountable. We need to go to the front, especially if you got a sister in your life that's doing her own thing. But these brothers that have strong sisters that have their own businesses and they're in the hustle. I'm like, man, even if you back her up, I mean, that's gonna make you stronger. So, I mean, I ain't gonna ramble about, I get stuck when we start talking about that subject because I think one of the problems with Black people is Black men, we need to step up more. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you make $1, put 10 away. I don't care what's going on in your life. And I know I've been in that situation where I had bills and I didn't save. We as Black people aren't gonna have any power until we save money, right? I know we talk about Kamala and Joe. Am I saying her name right? Kamala Harris, that's her name? Right? So none of that's gonna matter until we get money, period. So that's kind of what I want to kind of come around third base with, is we have to start putting money away. And then it becomes an addiction, and then you'll be in a better position to start your own business. And you guys, it's hard to have your own business to say, you know what? Hey, this is the CEO of so-and-so. That's a good feeling. I love saying I'm the CEO. I don't care if it was a taco stand, I'm still the CEO.
I think you got to embrace financial freedom. And I think a lot of people don't understand what financial freedom is. Mm-hmm. And when you have financial freedom, you can get up in the morning, you ain't worried about no money. You ain't worried about nothing being paid. You ain't worried about none of that. But, as long as you got to keep punching that clock, and I'm telling you, just because you live in a nice house, got a couple of cars in the yard, what happens if you don't punch that clock no more? Mm. What happens if you don't punch that clock no more? Now, the perks of owning your own business, you know, once you get it rolling and it's doing what it need to do, you can take a day off whenever you need one.
Right.
You ain't got to bring a doctor's note. You see what I'm saying? So I watched Bridgett, and I just got out of a van, so I didn't put my shirt on. Demetri, can you stand up a little bit so they can see the shirt?
Those are
When
nice.
when I saw the design and just the wording on it, I'm like, that's it right there, man.
Plain and
That's it
simple.
right
That's
there.
how I wanted it. Plain and simple.
And the thing is don't put the shirt on if you ain't a boss.
Mm.
Put one on that say employee.
Oh, I
Well,
like that. I'm gonna give you one of those. I need one of those. The boss with 69 on it.
Well, she got the shirt.
yeah.
She got the matching mask for it, and she's one of our new sponsors. So we definitely gonna be rocking boss
Oh, she had a mask
on our show. I mean, so if y'all need the shirts with the matching masks, you know, let me put up her website, and you can go straight to her website, and you can get this, man. I mean, support black-owned businesses. You want to reinvent Black Wall Street. You can't do it if you don't support the black-owned businesses. You
And
can't do it. And how
that
fast
right-
is your turnaround time, Bridgett, if they want shirts and masks and stuff like that?
7 to 10 days, business days. That's because once you, of course, you go online and order, we have about 48 hours because it's made once it's ordered. We don't keep stuff on stock because it's custom made. And that's what I was going to point out as well. There's very little that's on that website, but there's a special instructions at checkout. You can get that name in any color, that logo in any color you choose. And that t-shirt, we have the different colors for the t-shirt. So we're still building on it daily. There's other things like biker short sets that the ladies like. We're getting into the hats for the men. So different little things like that. So just save the website and keep going back often and checking on it.
Well, let me say this here because I'm gonna tap into the base. I just seen a couple of Yates lines show up. Now y'all know what color my shirts is. I got crimson and gold boss shirts. So if you want a crimson and gold boss shirt with the crimson and gold boss mask, you need to be talking to this website. Get that website and order it. Tell them exactly what you want. She did an exceptional job, and I'm always happy when I see a black entrepreneur. I'm always happy when I see one, especially when they got good product. And you know how we feel some days, Demetri and Donovan. Oh, we can't do it with the black people because it ain't gonna be right. It was right. She got it to me. I shipped it off to Donovan and Demetri, and she is gonna have
I pushed my merchandise lady to meet that deadline. She meets the deadlines. I love her. And her stuff, if you just wanted to use her for anything, the name of her business is 333 Custom Designs. And the 3 is the 3, it's triple with 3 lowercase i's. So it's 333 Custom Designs. And she's on Facebook and different social media. But I wanted to touch on the comment that he made about saving money, which that is, a big deal. We need to learn how to start saving our money and not spend as much. And I know everybody always hears the issue about, oh, our money only circulates a small portion of the time throughout our community compared to other ethnicities, which is true. But even to start a business, like I was saying, if you really wanted to, number one, part of my services is I help create a budget. Again, that's just the accounting in me. I help create a budget before because I see so many people, they start off, oh, I just started my own business and I got a logo. And then they're on there, okay, where can I get this from? Where can I get that from? I'm thinking, do y'all have a budget? All these things are going on in my head. Have a budget. Even if you don't have a lot of funds, because I speak with a lady at least once every other month. I've been talking to her for about a year. She's been wanting to start a business. She still can't get to the point to where she wanted up and running. But a budget, if you don't have it all right now, and you start putting that money aside, and you have a budget for how much money you're going to need to start this business, Number one, if it's an LLC, you know, coming to me, you're going to need $575 off the top. So starting a budget will help you know how much money you need to save while you're still working at this 9 to 5. I have a young lady that just she launched her lip gloss line. I didn't start with her from the beginning, but I heard about her through one of my other clients. So I hurried up and gave them my number, and she gave me a call. I said, "How far are you with your plan? You know, do you have a business plan and so forth?" And she was all the way there, but she was stuck on getting a website. I do websites for people as well. So there were small things that she hadn't tied together. I said, "Well, what about the sales and use permit?" So all these little things, don't just jump out there and say, "Okay, I started a business, I registered my name." Get a budget on how much money it's going to take you to get that business up off the ground without you not paying a bill at home, you know, missing a car note. Have a budget. Have a plan.
You
And
need
she
to.
had a plan. She said, "Miss B," she said, "whenever I called you, I just quit my job last Friday." I couldn't do
Well,
it.
you need to save money for that. But I mean, Demetra said at the beginning of the show, you got two hurricanes sitting in the Gulf, look like they headed towards that Gulf shoreline. One looked like it's headed straight for Houston. And if you don't have any money in emergency funding, somewhere you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it in Houston if we get this hurricane because they have not fixed that flooding. You know what it was like last time. It was get it how you live.
I came out of my house with water up to here and I can't swim. And we had to stay in a hotel for a couple of months before we were actually, you know, we actually relocated somewhere else. And yeah, the money played a big factor because before FEMA kicked in, I had to pay, and at the time it was me and my daughter and my son-in-law. And I had to pay for hotel rooms. So yeah, we need to learn how to save money better.
I want to
Oh,
say something. Let me say something real quick. I love this mask. Let me tell you why I love this mask, okay? One, I like to wear lipstick, okay? So the regular mask that I wear, I wish I could find one, but it's lipstick on the side, which is fine. But this one is barely touching my lips, and y'all know I got some pretty big soup coolers. This is barely touching my lips, so I could wear some lipstick or lip gloss or whatever. I also love it because I could actually breathe.
Yes.
I breathe, and I go walking 5, 6, 7 miles every morning, and sometimes I gotta wear a mask, and I can completely see myself working out in this mask. So I like it.
Thank you.
Now, do you make those masks with company logos? Is that what you were like? You can custom, you can tailor them to other like logos and things. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yes, I don't make them personally. This is just my brand. The lady who actually makes it and put on my logos and stuff, she's the one that can do that. She can do it. She puts that, whatever it is that you want on there, your business name, whatever it is, she puts it on there.
I guess what I'm saying, and I always think like this, how do you get your money for us coming to you? Because I don't know her.
Oh, no, I pay her. She charges me what her cost is to do it. So then of course, I mark it up to get my profit. So, so she's actually custom.
But your markup is not bad though.
Yeah. So
you're really inexpensive. Her markup's not bad.
And I don't have a problem with markup. You know, I have 2 Louis Vuitton items in my whole life. I bought a belt and a tie. I spent $300 on that tie, and like 10 years ago, best believe I still got it. My house would have catch on fire, I would go get that first. Here's the point I'm making. I've been to Europe multiple times, and I know it do not cost them $300 to make no tie. I can promise you that. So, right, we buy cars and things all the time. Black people, we are notorious. We'll say she drove it off the lot with no mileage. Like, that's all markup, right? So I don't have a problem, especially if it's something that's good, right? And I think we as Black people, if you read the book, The Color of Money, it talks about that, how we always want the hookup, or how, you know, because Black people started it, we were like, we helped you start it, so hook us up. And that's not really how it works, right? I tell people I charge $250 an hour. You may not know it when you're talking to me, but that's what I charge for my time. Because one, you don't ever get it back, and we are excellent people. We should charge for our time. Mercedes, Louis, all black people, we will break our necks to drive a Mercedes and wear a Louis Vuitton outfit. So we should treat ourselves exceptionally. Matter of fact, if it's a black-owned business, I think you should pay more because you're supporting your own people. I love, and Dee, I know how Dee is. She'll see a lady selling something way across the street. She'll walk past 20 businesses to get to that lady. And that's the way it should be with our people. We have to have pride. I can promise you, I worked in the music industry. There's a lot of Jews, and they would joke. They would say, oh, when a Jew screw up, what do? Go find another Jew. It wasn't even a second thought. So I'd like to pay. Matter of fact, if I see somebody knocking on my door that's black, I go, I don't care what it is. I'm already buying it. Unless it's crack, then, give it to my neighbor.
You got people wanting to purchase masks and shirt. What I did is I pinned a website on the page so you can see the website. Go to the website, order what you want, and Bridgett is going to take care of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I want one of those.
I also wanted to touch on that about the Black Wall Street. I was trying to make mental notes as well. I kind of had an epiphany about something like that because, again, I see people on they're asking about tax write-off benefits. Let me write that down. And someone else asked about, I'm sorry, I got off track. Someone else asked about how important it is for a vision and mission statement too. I wanted to address that.
Yeah.
But as far as the Black Wall Street thing, I see people, we're talking about reparations, number one. Everyone is gung-ho about, hey, we had it before, we can do it again. Yes, we can. We have lost trust in each other because of the way we as a people have done shady businesses with each other. So it's going to take a lot of trust, I know, for some people to try to collaborate together to make that happen. So with my vision, again, helping people, I look at it like this. I helped start about 7 to 10 new businesses during this pandemic. So that's within the last, 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. And all of these different businesses are in different industries. So I'm just letting you get a mental picture of this. When you had the Black Wall Street, you had all the different businesses that you needed on that strip. Yeah. And I just look at the fact that these people right here in our community in Houston that are starting these businesses, if I and other people like us can help them sustain them, yes, it is possible to do that again. It is. But again, that key word is sustain. We have to sustain ourselves. We have to be dedicated. We have to be devoted to it. And we have to want it. Just like Jerry said, we have to want it. So, and it has to be sustainable. We can get it back. And like I said, all these different, I have started trucking companies. Matter of fact, this guy, his wife started the So Pretty Hair Extensions LLC. So we had different businesses that started. One lady doing maid services. Again, my daughter's doing the cooking. My son, he has a cleaning company. So all of these different businesses together, we can have it again. We can, but we have to learn how to work with each other, how to help each other, stop putting each other down. And like me, I like to share my knowledge. I tell people all the time, my little logo for my professional business solutions company is it's a lady's head. It's a silhouette of the lady's head, and the lady's head is shaped out of different colored puzzle pieces. And when I saw that, I said, this is perfect. Number one, it's a lady of color, and number two, I have so much of this just going on up here that I would like to share with other people. The things that I've done, give the knowledge that I have. And it's called the solutions. So I figured it's showing the pieces of the puzzle being put together. It worked perfectly for my business. And that's just how I feel, the passion that I have for what I do. Helping people put those pieces of the puzzle together to make their business run smoothly. But again, we can have the Black Wall Street again. We just have to be dedicated to it. We have to be, be devoted to it. Help each other.
Let me ask y'all this, and I'll ask everybody this. Okay, so earlier I was having a discussion, and you guys can hear how well you can hear me. I got a big mouth anyway, so you can probably hear me over anything. But I was having this discussion with somebody who was saying, why are so many Black people migrating over to Trump, right? To the GOP and the Trump administration. And I said, well, from what I understand, it's because he's helping them get to the bag or get the money, start these businesses. It's easier for people to start businesses. So from every last one of you, and Donovan, let's start with you since you're the quiet one tonight. Do y'all think, would you say that's true in your opinion? And I'm not trying to be political, but I'm just, you know, it reminded me because you said you had actually helped Black people, I'm assuming 7 or 8 of them start businesses during the COVID. And so something is going on there. So Donovan, what say you?
Well, you know, I'm not sure if that's the whole thing about why they're going to Trump, but I think the monster of Trump is making a lot of people realize that nobody's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. So people are like waking up and saying, you know what? I can't depend on this job because I'm the, you know, what's the saying? We're the last ones hired and the first ones fired. So people are like, you know, I'm tired of, you know, depending on this thing to do it. So, you know, I think that if Trump wins another term, you're going to see a bunch of Black people start forming businesses and coming together a lot more because we realize that both of these parties just don't give a damn about us. And that's what I think is actually happening.
Yeah. No blue, no matter who. Now, it's funny when I see that, I ain't gonna say her name. I voted for Obama. I loved, and I'm a conservative. I'm a registered Republican, so I got security guards in front of my house. But I loved Obama because he represented, like, I don't care who you talk to, white, Black, Spanish women. If I say who is the sexiest president, who is the well-spoken, who's the guy that you'd want to take your daughter out? Like when Obama got up in front of the world, he just represented greatness. There is nothing like a Black man in a suit. Let me tell you, when I wear a suit and I get out of my car, man, I have to beat him off with a stick. It's incredible. They love me. And my boys went to a restaurant years ago, 20 of us sitting at a table, and we felt like the meal. I tell you, people, they want to, like, and here's the other thing about starting a Black business is the other races, they want to do business with us, right? Somebody, and I'm working on the website, I'm getting around to it. Somebody asked me, they said, hey, there are women who are not Black on your website. And I said, well, when I originally started my website, 99% of my clients were not African American, but 50% of my marketing dollars went to African Americans. You understand what I'm saying? So other races want to do business with us, and we can use that to build our race. And I feel like they're more apologetic right now. Like everything that's gone on, I think all races are looking at us like, okay, we are here for you. Do you realize they're still protesting in Portland, Oregon? Ain't a Black person in sight. I don't know the Black people in Portland. They're the last people protesting. So the point I'm making is we are a great race. You know, like if you look at business, like one of the richest Black people in the world, Robert Smith, is a brother that started a Vista Partners, a hedge fund, right? The greatest golfer in the world, the greatest basketball players, the greatest musicians, violinists, you can go down the list, are African American people. They love us. We just need to love ourselves that way, right? So I think by saving money and by working on work on yourself too, I think that will help. So I'm just glad.
To answer your question, it's two things. Well, you know, I tell you this here: if you go and study Donald Trump, it's something my father told me. He told me, "Boy, it ain't hard to get nothing; it's hard to keep it." He said, "You can get anything you want, but it's hard to keep it."
Right.
So for those that say, "Well, Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth," okay, he was, but he has figured out a way to keep that money. Trump has forced you to look at yourself. Trump has forced you to look at your finances, the things you took for granted every single day. Far more better of an attribute than somebody that just wanted you on government assistance. So, you know, I believe that people are migrating to Trump because they're starting to listen more, and they see that some of these people that are Republicans, that are African Americans, they ride with Trump because they are making money. Donald Trump doesn't understand anything but money. He doesn't understand anything. He won't talk to me. He won't talk to Demetria or Bridgett because we don't have the type of money and the conversation that he has. Now, here's the thing. You got to change your mind frame. You either want to continue to be broke or you either want money. You want to continue acting like you balling and shoot threes from the parking lot with $100 bills because you live in the suburbs, or you really want to go get the mansion. You got to make up your mind because it's there. Right now, the game is wide open. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to be broke, then that's what you're going to be. But if you sit there and you listen to Trump, go research him, look at the documentary. The man breathes money. He smells like money. I need to be around people that's talking about money. I don't need to be around no people talking about a sack of weed. So change your environment. You just might change your financial situation.
You and Donovan both touched on my thoughts. Those both are my thoughts. One, yes, he has forced us to look at the way we have been living. And number two, the first thing that I said when I had a conversation about Trump is that he's running the country like a business. That's what I tell people. I'm not saying I'm pro-Trump. I don't discuss religion or politics, especially on my social media, because everybody has so many different opinions. But when I talk about him, he's running the country like a business, which that's what this country is founded on, running it like a business. We were brought over here to make money for those people. We were run as a business. We were considered their property, their assets. This country has always been founded on a business foundation. And that's pretty much what he's doing. He's running the country like a business. And he's very outspoken, and that's what people don't like.
Let me read this comment from Tina Louise. I'm sorry. She says, it's not Trump per se, and I'm going to read three of them. They short. It's not Trump per se. It's the pandemic that made people realize. Then she came back. She said, I'm not giving him any credit. Then she came back and she said he's had several bankruptcies. Well, I know some black people that ain't had but one, and they ain't got their business back in order. Bankruptcy is to help you restructure your finances. Whether you like him or not, his money has not gone anywhere. So what is he doing that we ain't doing? You think I care about Trump being crazy, being a racist? I need to figure out what he's doing.
Yeah, he's you guys, here's where we will win. Like, I'm not a fan of Trump. I do not like Donald Trump. I've met him personally twice in LA. He is a douchebag. He is a sexist. And I heard him say things about women in a room full of 10,000 people that you wouldn't say to your boys. He's a piece of shit. And Joe Biden, I don't know a lot about, but you know, if I go back to some of his old recordings and listen to what he said, he ain't no better. So we have to stop waiting for politics to run our lives. You know, Donald Trump, I think why, and a lot of black people voted for him and say that they didn't. One, because we're scared, and we shouldn't be scared to vote. If I want to vote for a Republican, I don't need black people on my head that I'm killing the race. We should be able to vote for whoever you want to vote for. You know, and honestly, you guys, if we go back through history, the Republicans were the ones that were fighting for us. Now, I don't know what happened, and I'm not here to go through all politics. I'm just saying we should have the freedom of choice, and we shouldn't make it about the money. I do not like Donald Trump, but I know I got a tax break when he came into office. My expenses went down. That man is pro-business. George, but I don't care who it is. I wish Colin Powell would have ran. Obviously, that's would have been my favorite Republican, or Condoleezza Rice. I wish it would have been one of them. And I don't, you know what? Anyways, I'm gonna get sidetracked. But it has to be about the money, you guys. I watch all these shows where people are talking about politics, and no one gives it. Remember that movie from the what was it? The Color Purple, when he says, was it Cesar Romero? No one gives a damn. I'm trying to think of the line that he uses. If we only care about the money, at the end of the day, money moves. Why don't we just focus on that, you guys? Like Joe Biden, I get it. He says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's our problem, is that black people, they already know. I think the history shows that black women vote for Democrats almost no matter what. Period. They don't even think about black women. Think about this for a second. Joe Biden said, my first day, I'm going to help the people that are here illegally. They didn't build this country. They weren't here going through slavery. But those are the first people I'm going to help. So I think they're both crooks. But I think we should just focus on the money first. Black people, when you have money in your pocket, you feel better.
Yes.
Some of you guys, yeah, get rid of those car payments. I tell people I want a new Range Rover, but I don't want the headache. So I drive an old car and I put the money in my bank instead. You know what I'm saying? You feel better. When I'm in St. Martin next week, I'm going to think about all you guys with car payments. I say these.
When you're in St. Martin, think about all of them in Houston that's going to be on the air mattresses floating down I-45.
But you live in hurricane town. I hear people in Texas complaining all the time about the hurricanes. If I walk down the street and my neighbor slapped the shit out of me, I'm across the street when I see him next time. You live in the flood zone. Save your money or buy a boat. Period.
And Gary, I actually saw you. I might not get a chance to watch it, but I saw you talking about the evictions that are taking place. It says that 50 million Americans are facing eviction, and it's predominantly black people that are facing eviction. And so you listen to the Republicans, ain't nobody, I mean, they're acting like they're going to do something, but at the end of the day, people are getting served eviction notices. And so neither party is saying, hey, guys, let's hold off for a minute until we get through fighting. It's so at this point, some point in time, black people got to realize we are all we have. We are the most creative people ever to walk planet Earth. So like, when have we stopped being creative? Like, we can make anything hot. We are the cool factor when it comes to everything. The Kardashian clan, the whole Kardashian clan are billionaires off of mimicking, and I say that, mimicking black women.
Well, here's the thing. Erica T. Mitchell said, Gary, I hope not. Well, Erica, you can stop hoping, because if the hurricane comes, they have not fixed the flooding issues. They have not fixed them. Bridgett, I know, I saw, we talked what she went through when the flood came. These people have not done anything. And it's
better they can't even find what happened to some of the money from Hurricane Harvey, right?
You can't play the law of average with certain things. So the thing is, you either want the money or you don't want it. And I'm gonna be honest, I just finished talking to a guy, I'm in St. Louis, and I told him, if the conversation ain't about money, I don't want to have it. I don't want to have the conversation, because everything black, what one of the biggest problems with black people, y'all, and you tell me if I'm wrong, we don't seem to want to fix nothing about us until our house is on fire. We ain't gonna understand what Donovan is saying, that we're 12 years from being a slave until it actually happens.
Right.
Then you're gonna run to the same people, just like the people with the eviction notices. You're running to the mayor. You're saying you can't let this happen. But when you had an opportunity to try something different, this is what you wanted. And I was telling you at the time when they were voting, and I'm not picking on Turner, you feel what I'm saying? But I'm telling you at the time, if you don't get the right people, then what happens when a hurricane comes? You heard me say it on this show before, Demetra. We dealing with the pandemic. You better pray a hurricane don't come. Well, I be damned. Not one, but two. And what happens if they happen to connect? That's the perfect storm. You thought Harvey was a beast? If this one connects, it's going to be a sad day in the city of Houston. But guess what? Because we didn't save money, because we keep voting in the wrong people, you are going to feel it in a way that you've never felt it before. You better think about that November 3rd. Because right now, like you said, Dimitri, ain't no politicians going to bat for them.
No.
And you can't get mad at the judge because the judge has to follow the law. They have to follow the law. But we also told you if you could pay your payments, pay your car notes, pay your rent, keep paying. And some of y'all went into what I call big balling mode. You started balling on a budget. And you just waiting for that 1,200. Well, that 1,200 ain't gonna make it before them hurricanes do. What the hell are you gonna do?
Hey,
I got
real
two
quick.
bedrooms back here, 2 empty bedrooms. If two of y'all need help, right
Well,
behind
I
me.
live on a hill now, so I think I'm pretty much safe
Right.
in spring. I'm up
Now,
north.
Joanne Richardson said Trump was born in real money. Well, goddamn it, start you a business so your kids can have the same opportunity that Donald Trump had when his father started his company.
Exactly.
We don't want to pass down generational wealth. We want to pass down generational debt.
Right. You know, real quick, I just want to get on the topic of, Trump was voted in for this. He's a businessman, this is that. And those are all possibilities. But the reason why he actually won the vote, and I know a lot of people are going to get pissed off when I say this, is because the Democrats ran a bad candidate. Anybody could have beaten Trump other than Hillary. And that's a fact. Fact.
I think Bernie would have gave him hell. I think Bernie would have beat him. But for some reason, you will not get behind Bernie Sanders. You will not support him. So, okay, this is what we got. But right now, say, man, the Republicans want the economy back open. They want to make money, man. I get it with some of y'all. That 600 feel good, especially if you ain't got to get your ass up and go to work. But some of us actually have to go to work. Some of us actually have to run our companies. And it's not beneficial to us keeping our businesses closed.
Yeah, no. The world is opening, you guys. And I'm hearing more people say, like, as someone said, like 0.3% people have died. But yet we've shut down a $22 trillion economy. Like suicides are heavy. All kinds of things. Domestic abuse is through the roof. So I'm not saying, forget the coronavirus. I'm just saying sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture, right? We don't want to wear a mask in America. We have so many rights, and sometimes we take advantage of that. So what's going to fix all this, you guys, as I can tell you, is just getting your money together, period. And I know I keep harping on this, but like, here's what I want you guys to do. Get you a turtle. I bought this turtle from Mexico over the weekend, and I bought it from this little Mexican kid, right? He knocked on my window, and he kept knocking on my window. He goes, La Bank, La Bank. I said, you know what? I'm going to use this on my show and show you how black people save money a little bit at a time. You got to kill the turtle. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing, too, and I'll kind of close with this. Black people, stop being scared. Excuses don't make money. I hear people say, oh, my kids, or I have family drama. My family, no, there is no drama between 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. I do not answer the phone. I don't do it. There's no such thing as family drama. I'm like, did he die? Call the morgue. Is he in the hospital? Call the ambulance. I'm not a doctor, surgeon, or a mortician. There's no such thing as family drama. You understand? Because you understand what I'm saying. Some of you guys just have too much drama. Cut it out. Excuses don't make money. And you got to take some risk. My sister will tell you, I've lost millions of dollars in business. I used to sleep on her couch. I had millions saved, and 18 months later, I was sleeping on her couch. That is a true story.
So let me read a comment. Randall Bivens says, rich people look at debt differently than poor people. They actually get rich off debt, and because they know how to leverage it. Well, Randall, here's a bit of advice from the 5-star general. Stop hanging around broke black people and take something that you can learn. What you just said, why don't you do it?
That's right.
That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
If you say white people doing this here, then why in the hell you ain't doing it? Don't say we don't have money, because we at the Turkey Leg Hut. We at the Zydeco festivals. We stay in the damn mall, even doing
The Galleria.
But we don't have no money. We can't put no money in the turtle because we ain't got no money. We got money. You know what kind of
money in the turtle?
And that goes back to, like I said earlier, like when I tell people what my fee is to do that consulting to start their business, it's $575. And then once I give them all the rundown and say, okay, well, I'm gonna get back with you. And you can see them, like you said, Turkey Leg Hut, Galleria, but that's to each his own. That's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful and you want to run a successful business, you have to spend money to make money. I know everybody's heard that before. You have to spend money. That is a small portion of money to spend for you to gain wealth. $500 and something dollars. I had one lady told me that someone tried to charge her $2,300 to do the same thing that I did, or less. It didn't even come with QuickBooks. And my consulting comes with QuickBooks. Keep up with the bookkeeping. So, but yes, you have to spend money to make money as well. And we have to save, but in order to make money, you have to spend money. And going to the gallery and buying Jordans is not gonna cut it.
Well,
That's cheap. You need to raise your fees. I ain't doing nothing for $500. That's a lot of work. The fact, Lord have talk me after the show.
Walter said it earlier, and then we'll go to final comments. And I'm gonna say it a different way for those that just don't get it. Scared money don't make money.
Slow feet don't eat.
Final thoughts, Mr. Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said, but everybody said. But I think the main thing that stops us is us. We have a lot of excuses that we tell ourselves, and then we listen to a lot of excuses from everybody else. I was actually listening to Les Brown yesterday. He's up there in age, but he says that your family is some of your biggest discouragers. You know, they'll be the main ones to tell you, oh, that don't work, and why you gonna quit your job for? Your mama had a job, your granddaddy had a job, everybody had a job, you need to get a job too. And so we do that to our children, especially in our community. Oh, you gotta go get you a good job. And then, what do you say, Gary, the 40-40 plan? Work 40 hours a week and retire after 40 years instead of saying, hey, go start your own business. Even if you fail, you know, you're doing better than most. And so I would just say, lose the fear. Just do it.
That was one thing that we were taught. Like I said, I'm from a small town in Louisiana, and that's what we were taught. Get a job, work, take care of your family. Work. By the time you retire, you can't even enjoy it. Nowadays, it has been said that by the time we retire at this, you know, in our golden ages, there will be no Social Security. Right now, and I know from experience, a lot of employers have gotten away from a lot of employees, have gotten away from the traditional 401k plans, and employers as well. Because the company that I work for, we have IRAs because it's a small company. And that's what I was intended to get on that subject as well. I also help with stock investing. I'm not a broker. That's my disclaimer. I only coach on what I know about stocks, because on the job that I work for, I was kind of thrown into that position. I'm used to doing accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, blah, blah, blah. I have to reconcile their stock statements. This is a multi-million-dollar company. I have to reconcile their stock statements. So I have learned a lot about stocks, and that's one of my incomes that I have. I invest in stocks. That's another myth, that we think that you have to be rich to invest in stocks and bonds. That is not true. Now, Fidelity will let you purchase fractional shares of stock. Amazon stock is over $3,000 right now. Wow. You do not have to spend $3,000 to purchase Amazon stock. You can spend $25 and buy proportions of Amazon stock. Investing in stocks now is so easy. Just like I said about starting a business. It's very easy now. There's no excuses for us not to make money. There's no excuses for us not to build wealth for our families. One thing that I do not 100% agree with is leaving generational wealth. What I told my children was, because I used to have it was like a $250,000 life. It's called a living benefits plan.
Yeah.
And I looked at the fact that, they didn't go to college, they're doing their own thing. But I said, no, you need to start doing it yourself. So I am teaching them how to be independent, teaching them how to gain wealth as well. They see me and I'm teaching them. So, but my grandchildren are the ones that I am mostly helping, to have the wealth, to get the wealth. I have them in a thing called a UIL. And IUL. It's exactly. It's $100,000. I have $100,000 policy. Both of my sons have 4 children apiece. And at first it was just for my oldest grandson, but my brother told me that I can divide it up and give them portions of it once he turns of age. He can go to college with that money. He can cash it out, buy a house, buy a car, whatever it is he want to do. But at the same time, I'm trying to teach them how not to blow through that. I'm just trying to teach them how to gain wealth. I don't want to just leave it for them, and because I know I've seen people from my hometown, great grandma, Medea, leave property and houses for their people, and those kids sell it or they lose it in tax liens and stuff like that. I refuse to work hard all my life and leave it for you to sell it or lose it on a tax lien. So I'm helping mind the game wealth. I'll leave something behind for them, but I'm not trying to I want to enjoy my money. I want to, take flights or whatever. But yeah, it's very easy to invest, and it's very easy to start businesses and to stand on your own 10 toes. It's very easy nowadays.
Final thought, Donovan.
All right, you guys, I want to give you guys a quick reminder. Monday, so damn important to tune into the War Zone. We are going to have the second Black woman nominated to the VP ticket. Her name is Angela Walker. She represents the Green Party. We don't want you guys to be sitting here thinking we only have 2 choices. You have several choices when it comes to presidential elections. A lot of us here on the War Zone, we're going to down ballot. A lot of people don't know what down ballot means. That means, if you don't like the candidates that are up there, skip that election and go to the elections that really matter. Your local elections, your senator, your congressman, your mayor, your judges, blah, 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 council people. That's the thing that matter, because you should not be forced to vote for evil. Evil is evil no matter which side you vote for. If you're not content with those, write somebody in if that's your option. But you do need to vote. I do believe Donald Trump needs to leave, but I also believe this: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
Yeah,
I'm gonna end it with this, man. You either want to have money or you want to be broke. That's your choice. You either want to have money or you want to be broke. You want to keep doing it your way, keep doing it your way. Me, I'm on a mission to make sure that I can look at my account one day and I got $200 million in it. That's my goal. That is my goal. And if you ain't got that kind of money, we don't need to even have a conversation at this point, because I'm not trying to hear that broke shit. Say another spirited conversation. It's the War Zone, baby. We out of here until Monday. But I gotta say thank you to my co-host Donovan Sadiq, the Queen Demetra K, the Money Man Walter Coulter, Bridgett Perkins, and my phone died, but that's okay. Because as long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna get to that bag and the 5-star general. We'll see you Monday.
Have a good night.